During week 2 of the FYEX course, you're going to be asked to start a project that you'll be continuing throughout the semester. We call this project Application Activity Number 1, Study Skills. So let's go to week 2, coursework, and then content. And here is week 2 of the course. Now, there are a number of activities this week. I'm going to just focus for this recording on the study skills project. The first thing you're going to need to do is to take the study skills self-assessment. When you click on the study skills self-assessment, it'll take you right into the MindTap companion website where you find your textbook, etc. And in this case, it's going to take you to a self-assessment or questionnaire page. So when you start this survey, it's going to ask you some questions about your current kind of process for studying and what you know about learning and how you learn, etc. So you're going to answer certain questions. The first one here is, I understand how the human brain learns, and I use that knowledge to study effectively. So you have an option to rate your answer to that question from 0, which would be totally false. I have no idea how the human brain learns, and I don't know how that relates to studying effectively, to 10, which is totally true. Like, I understand everything about how the human brain learns, and I use that knowledge very effectively. You can put your answer in right here. And you know, most of the time I encourage my students to think that we're rarely a 0 or a 10. We're usually somewhere in between. We know something, we may not know at all, or maybe we know a lot. We really oftentimes can't really say that we know exactly everything about a particular question. There are actually 7 pages to this survey, so it takes a little while to do this. The more thoughtful you are in terms of putting in the information, the more likely it is that you're going to get a result that is going to be useful to you. Okay, going back to our page for the assignment, once you have completed the study skills self-assessment, it is going to give you a series of scores. And those scores are going to be important as you begin your application activity on study skills. So there's a little bit of information to read right here, but ultimately you're going to open the study skills project planning form, and that should open in a new window. And here is that form. This form is a .docx form. We use consistently Microsoft Word throughout this course. For those of you that are not using Windows or a Microsoft computer, that does pose some additional technical challenges, but it's not difficult. And your instructors can help you open and download or save files, etc. So here we have the download button, and that's the first thing you're going to want to do. You can view this document right here, but you can't make changes to it. And there are places where you're going to need to make changes. So we're going to download. And on my computer, that means it's going to show as an icon right down here in my download bar. I'll open that up from there, and that will automatically open Microsoft Word. Now, whenever you open a file from the internet these days, you have to enable editing before you can do anything with it. That's a protection just to make sure that you're not downloading something that could be dangerous to your computer. So click Enable Editing. And then for the very first thing that you should do is you should save this document to your home computer. So we're going to go down here to Save As. Hopefully you have some files set up on your computer. I have various places I could save this on my computer. Because everybody has one, let's just save this to the desktop. When I save this form, I'm actually going to make a little change to the name of the form. I'm going to put my first initial A and my last name, Tibble, So that way, when I upload the form with my changes, my instructor will see that it is sort of named or uniquely identified to me. So that's a simple way to do that. Then I'm going to click save and I'm good to go. I can put my name in here and we can go from there, the date and so forth. Now, you are going to get scores in each of these areas from the study skills assessment, and we want you to report those scores here. You'll see them. There's a little screenshot of how to find your scores. So depending upon how you've scored in each particular area. That will give you an idea of what you need to work on for study skills for this project. And then we want you to go to the second page of this document in which we have selected some study skills in these various areas. They actually come from your textbook materials, and I'll show you that in a moment. And they're what we feel are the most active, the best study skills for students to kind of practice. What we're interested in having you do here is increase your toolbox and your ability to use study skills in ways that are going to be useful to you for your college career and further, perhaps. So depending upon what you have, if you had a low score, for instance, in reading in terms of a study skill, then you would want to pick one or two of these strategies right here. If you're struggling with rehearsing and memorizing, which often shows up for people when they're on tests, then you should choose one or two study skills from this area. Ultimately, you're going to choose 6 study skills from the tables there, depending upon your needs, and then you will write those strategies or copy and paste those strategies right here. There's some check boxes right here. So if you had if you were choosing reading or as one of those areas, you would check the box here. If you're not taking notes, uncheck that box and so forth, okay? And so wherever you are doing your study skills in terms of the areas here, check those boxes so your instructor can see that you're not choosing 6 strategies from one area, for instance. We want you to be a little more broadly based than that, okay? And then you're going to fill out the planning form. You're actually going to write in what you feel are your most difficult and challenging courses for the semester. That could include this one, but we hope you're taking other courses and that you will choose study strategies that will help you in those classes. You're going to write those strategies right here. So if I was doing reading and I decided that I wanted to use the strategy number 12 here, pause to recite, I could just do a copy and paste, and that would be perfectly acceptable for this. Okay, so those are, and then you would put your other strategies in the other 6 areas right there. Now, one of the things about this is that although we have listed the sort of names of the strategies here, we have not listed what you would actually do with those strategies. So let's take a look at that pause to restraint strategy so you can sort of get an idea of what you're signing up for. Because if you do choose strategies from here, we're going to expect that you actually try them out this semester in your various classes. So let's go back here for a second. I'm going to go back into the MindTap companion website where we were looking at the study skills self-assessment. I'm going to close this out for right now. And I want to look at, okay, where are those strategies fully explained? And so we're going to find them in the textbook. And I'm going to click on the full book right here. There are different ways to get into the textbook, and you could actually look at them on your phone if you've downloaded the app for reading the book on your phone. If you're going this route, though, and following along with me, then you're going to want to open the table of contents right here. And this is a sort of a appendix for the textbook. called a toolbox for active learners. So I'm going to click right here. And now this is where those study strategies are fully explained. The one that we had talked about came from the reading area. So there's various things that we can read here, but I'm going to drill in right on the strategy itself. So here's strategies to improve reading. And the strategy I chose for the, just for the sample one was number 12, pause to recite. So if I look at strategies to improve reading, they're listed out in that order. I'm going to scroll down till I get to number 12. And here it is. So if I'm going to pause to recite as a strategy, this is where it explains what I would do. Have you ever finished reading an assignment only to realize you have no idea what you just read? Here's a remedy. Stop at the end of each section and summarize aloud what you understand to be the main ideas and supporting details. The more difficult the reading, the more often you want to pause to recite. And there's a little more here. So the idea here is that after you've read a section in the book, if you go back and you stop for a moment and you actually recite out loud the main ideas and supporting details. And we know that helps people remember more or retain more of what they're reading. Okay, so so back to our week 2, and I think, well, actually, let's go back to the form and just make sure. So you would do that for each of these strategies. You're going to be asked to learn more about the strategies in future weeks as we continue this project. But for right now, I do think it's a good idea for you to look and just read the directions on what you're expected to do for each strategy. Okay. So there's a box here with a question, what classes are you taking this semester that will benefit from me practicing and applying these strategies? So I want you to list any classes that you have where you're like, yes, I've got a lot of reading in my history class. That's definitely a class that's going to benefit from me using these strategies. We don't want you to choose strategies that you don't feel you really have a use for right now. That doesn't make any sense. We want you to be actively applying these strategies through this semester. You could use the pause to recite strategy as you read the textbook chapters for this class. So it would be perfectly appropriate to put in FYEX here, okay? Final step, save your changes and attach this document to the assignment submission form in the week 3 learning module. We'll just show how to do that. So we're going to click save. I can close out my document. I should find it on my desktop. I'm going to close this page, which was just the link into the document. Let's go back in here. When I want to actually submit my assignment, I'm going to go into application activity number 1, click on the assignment, and then you'll find that you have an add attachments link. It's going to look a little different for students because this is the instructor's view, but just look for that. And then when you click on that, you'll have an opportunity to upload your file. For me, I'm going to find my file on the desktop, I believe. Here it is. I'm going to open that up, and there you go. You've submitted your assignment. Of course, make sure your assignment is complete before you do that. If it's not complete, we do set our assignments here for multiple submissions, so you could submit your assignment again after you have completed it.